Want to know how to shut a narcissist down permanently with as few words as possible? That's what I'm covering today. Let's go. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tammy M. Joyce. I'm the founder of Tammy M Coaching and the creator of the Freedom Class and the Ascension Class. If you'd like to learn more about how to become a coaching client, there's a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. So let's talk about how to shut a narcissist down permanently and with as few words as possible. Now, remember, when you're dealing with a destructive narcissist, you're actually dealing with an emotional toddler at best. In other words, a highly manipulative child with a shocking sense of entitlement, running around in an adult body, pretending to be an adult. In addition to feeling entitled, the destructive narcissist will also display a colossal lack of boundaries, empathy impairment, and depending on where the narcissist is on the spectrum, they may even be devoid of conscience altogether. It's also important to remember that you're dealing with a master manipulator, someone who will be willing to go to whatever lengths they deem necessary to cover their own ass, get their way, or advance their agenda. Now, often that agenda is no more complicated than wanting to be seen as the victim and you the villain, no matter how appallingly they themselves have behaved. The notion that when you behave badly and then suffer the consequences for your bad behavior, you still are not a victim, this is not something that registers for a person with a destructive narcissist personality pattern. They feel entitled to behave however they choose and believe they should be above having to suffer any consequences. If it weren't so sad and destructive, it's actually fascinating to observe the way a person of this nature goes through life. Now, clearly, these are not very nice people. In fact, what they are is quite unwell, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, no matter how much they may pretend and have others convinced otherwise. So with all of that in mind, you want to be sure to choose your battles wisely. And to be clear, more often than not, it will be in your best interest to simply back away. Quietly, no sudden movements, just stay under the radar if you're able. And once you get away, stay away for good. Honestly, that's always going to be your best bet when dealing with someone who lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism. Now, that said, if for whatever reason that's not an option for you, or for whatever reason you aren't quite ready, willing, or able to cut and cauterize without engaging unnecessarily, then here's what you want to know. When it comes to shutting a narcissist down permanently, the first thing you want to do is deal with and process your own emotions apart from the narcissist. And you want to do this so you are more easily able to leave all emotion out of it when you do engage. Do not under any circumstances react to their provocations. And I know this is easier said than done, but really what you want to do is deal with them with the mindset of this is a business transaction, no matter what the circumstances are. There is no room for emotion if your goal is to actually shut them down permanently. In other words, to be successful, you must remain calm, cool, and collected no matter what it takes. And they will bait you. They'll say whatever they think will provoke you to trigger a negative response in you. It's what they do. So expect that in advance so you're not caught off guard. And if you want to learn more about how to handle narcissistic baiting, you can watch this video here. Now that said, to make this easier for you to do in the moment, you'll want to make a conscious effort to focus on your breath, stay in your body, and remain completely non-reactive to the best of your ability. No matter how much of an Academy Award-winning performance you have to muster, you can do this. You can react and vent to your heart's content, express your anger, hurt, frustration later on, when you're by yourself or with a trusted friend or confidant, or any other safe person in your support system. However, in the moment with the narcissist, the goal is to give them nothing in terms of emotional energy, and I do mean nothing. Now, I'm not saying this is easy to do or that you're going to get it right every time, but you are going to have to find a way to remain as cold, detached, and unfeeling as possible, again, if the goal is to shut them down permanently. And for you empaths out there, you're going to have to think counterintuitively. Forget reasoning with this person. Forget being heard, understood, validated, or getting your needs met. That isn't going to happen. Remember, you're not dealing with a reasonable, rational adult with good intent, no matter how much they may claim otherwise. Rather, you're dealing with an entitled, childish ingrate with malevolent intent. You're dealing with someone who will be willing to go to any lengths to hurt you, to provoke you, to win the right fight, to get their way, to manipulate you, to manipulate the perception of others, as well as to control narratives and outcomes. And if they're resentful enough and motivated enough, they're also going to be willing to go to extreme lengths to seek revenge, whatever it takes. So know up front what you're dealing with and decide in advance whether or not the price you will pay will be worth it. Again, not always, but certainly more often than not, we're far better off with a simple cut and cauterize from the dynamic and moving on to live a happy, peaceful life without all the extra. But when that's not an option and the goal is to shut them down, here's what you want to do. With as much of a detached, flatline posture and deadpan expression as you can muster, use one-word responses or super short, succinct, clear, and simple statements like, for example, no, or no thank you, I'm not available, I'm not interested. In other words, no is a full and complete sentence. Now, the truth is, this might take a little practice. You might want to practice in the mirror before engaging directly, but you can get good at delivering whatever response or information you need to deliver without any emotional charge attached to it. Detached, flatline, clear, and succinct, followed by silence. That's right, silence. Make a decision in advance to get comfortable with the uncomfortable silence. And again, this can take some practice, but you can get good at this. So, for example, no. And breathe. Let the uncomfortable silence be what it is. Stay in your body, remember to breathe, and let the word or super short, succinct, clear, simple statement land. And let the silence be what it is. Your job is to hold on to yourself. Remember, you are simply delivering information, nothing more, with a posture of, this is a business transaction. Zero emotion. You're approaching it with that mindset. And know in advance the narcissist isn't going to like this. They far prefer to have you all frothed up, dancing like a puppet on strings, reacting to their provocations on cue. But you're better than that. And you're stronger than that. The message you are now sending is very clear. I am not playing anymore. You can also say things like, I understand, or I see, or I hear you. I'll let you know. I'll get back to you. Let me think about it. Again, short, succinct, and clear, followed by silence. Silence is so powerful. It sends a message all on its own. And the message being, A, no communication is communication, and B, I am not giving my power away. Not today, Satan. Now, needless to say, all of this is so much easier to do when you have some actual healing and recovery under your belt. And if you need help with that, you're likely an excellent candidate for one of my coaching programs. There's a link in the description below this video where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Now, to be clear, this is for you if you're ready and able to invest in yourself and your healing and recovery journey. If you want the pain to stop. You want to find a way out of the fog, confusion, self-doubt, fear, and anxiety brought on by having been exposed to empathy-impaired emotional manipulators who feel entitled to hurt you, and worse yet, blame you for the hurt they cause. If that's you, there's a link in the description below this video. Now, once we get past the discomfort of the silence, silence is by far more powerful than anything we could ever say to a toxic emotional manipulator and bully. So be sure to use it to your advantage, especially when dealing with someone who lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism. And what we're looking to communicate as clearly as possible is, you've got zero power or influence over me. You are wasting your time. I am not a good target. And if you keep it up, this is not going to end well for you. Again, I am not giving my power away today. Capiche? Good. Now, I'm not saying say those things. I'm saying that is the posture you want to have when you are dealing with the narcissist to whatever degree you have to deal with them. Now, in addition, and where appropriate, this isn't always going to be appropriate or work for you for sure, but when and where appropriate, you can simply say something like, cool, or okay, I'm okay with that. Fine with me. One of my personal favorites? I don't care. And not another word, just let it land. And if you're feeling strong and brave, you can also say something like, yeah, that's not going to happen. And silence. Watch the narcissist become completely unraveled when they realize they are completely and utterly powerless over you. This is how we shut down a narcissist permanently. You start communicating like this, carrying that detached, flatline, couldn't give a flying bleep kind of energy, and communicating in this posture, letting the silence be what it is, pretty soon they have to go find somewhere else to mess with, someone else to play with, and you'll be left alone in peace. Remember, you're not looking to antagonize or provoke and make things worse. You're looking to turn the volume down on the unnecessary drama and trauma in so much as you are able. You're looking to diffuse the situation, again, not make it worse. So be sure to avoid using a sarcastic or condescending tone. Instead, aim to stay calm and strong, grounded and clear, holding on to yourself while refusing to give your power away. So be prepared to say things like, fine, or you're entitled to think that. You're entitled to see it that way. You're entitled to feel that way. And silence. Believe me, you do not need the last word. What you need is to stop being a source of narcissistic supply for a toxic bully and energy vampire. So here are some more things you can say to shut a narcissist down. You know, lying about me doesn't change what's true about you. Or, you don't get to take your pain out on me anymore. And silence. Not another word, no matter what they say. You can also simply say, I'm going to stop you there. I have to run now. Bye. And turn on your heel and leave. Mid-sentence if necessary. Period. Just remove yourself like the sovereign adult that you are. And if you're in a situation where you can't remove yourself, then start doing whatever you need to do to change your situation. Another option? Duly noted. Now, this one works particularly well whenever they attack, lash out, or attempt to bait you in any way. On the surface, it sounds like you've accepted whatever they've said, but in reality, you're actually telling them that you're documenting their behavior. They know it, and you know it. Enough said. When they're trying to suck you into gossiping about whoever it is they happen to be targeting, simply say, it's none of my business, or that sounds like a personal problem. Perhaps you should keep that to yourself. Or, interesting you see it that way. Or, what brought you to that conclusion? Interesting. I've already answered that question. I understand you feel that way. I understand. And silence. One that's worked well for me on a few occasions is to simply look at them confused and ask, you okay? Now, you'll inevitably get a defensive yes, and then simply say, okay, and then silence, not another word. The point has been made. Another option, I don't allow people to talk to me like that. Now, this must be said with a strong posture of confidence and absolute certainty. You are completely unmovable, followed by silence. Or, when they're lashing out, simply say, when you're in a better mood, we can talk then, and walk away. When they're projecting their nonsense onto you, accusing you of doing and being what they themselves have done and been, don't argue or defend yourself. Simply ask, do you hear yourself? And then say, you should think about what you just said. And again, not another word. Another option, I'll let what you just said slide this time, but don't let it happen again. Now, with this statement, you're giving them a chance to correct themselves with fair warning. If they're rude just one more time, you're out. But you must be willing to back up what you've just said when they test you, because they will test you. Another option, let's just end this now before it gets worse. Or, I think you need to reevaluate the way that you speak to me. An excellent way to completely remove any power they have over you is to simply say, it's your choice to believe that. Or, I can't control what you choose to believe, say, think, whichever. I don't like that. Or, are you trying to start an argument? Is that what's going on here? And then silence. Not another word, no matter what they say. Another option is to repeat exactly what they just said to you in the first person. Always lead off by stating, I hear you saying, and then add their statement. And then look at them quizzically. Sometimes when people hear exactly what they're saying to other people without thinking it through, they realize the ludicrousness of what they've just said. Now, whether or not they admit that is another story. Another way to accomplish the same is to simply ask, can you repeat that, please? And then let them hear themselves. And your response is, I thought that's what I heard. And not another word. Another option? I don't accept your definition of me. Or, I'm not surprised that you would see it that way. Or, I understand. That's interesting. Sometimes a simple wow is all you need to say. Or, I see. Again, that's your choice. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm sorry you're so upset. Let's talk about this when you're more calm. When it's time for a hardline boundary to be set, simply say, this subject is off limits, and don't budge. Or, guilt peddling and playing the pity card are not going to work with me anymore. Or, this is non-negotiable. I don't choose to have this conversation with you. No. Or a simple, no thank you. Or, okay, have a nice day. And walk away. You can also say something like, listen, I know you're upset. Yelling and threatening me aren't going to solve anything. That's not going to work for me. We clearly see things differently, and I'm okay with that. We obviously remember things differently. I can live with that. Remember, you're allowing another person to be wrong about you, to think, feel, and even say whatever they like without you feeling the need to either defend yourself or set the record straight. Again, allowing them to be wrong about you. And this is a reflection of a level of personal power and strength that many people cannot even fathom. It's self-esteem, self-worth, and absolute confidence in the knowledge that you know exactly who you are and who you are not. And whatever the narcissist or anyone else for that matter thinks, feels, or says is of no consequence. You know who you are, and that's enough. That, my friends, is personal power and freedom. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But don't stop now. I have close to 200 videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse, and more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, freedom, and abundance. And if you want to go deeper with me, you can go to tammymcoaching.com and learn about my unique tried and true process garnered over decades of experience and learn how you can become my client.